Hello, family. Welcome back to the African Diaspora News Channel. I am Wongel Zelalem, and today's story comes from Zambia. Zambia is a country in Africa, and Dalitsu is about to lose a lot of money and a lot of cars and a lot of land and luxury apartments. You might be wondering, who is Dalitsu? Dalitsu Lungu is the son of former President Edgar Lungu, who passed away just recently. He was the president of Zambia for 6 years from 2015, and his successor is President Hakainde Hichilema. So after his successor took over, his father, no, Dalitsu's father, who was the former president, after he lost to Hakainde Hichilema, he was sick. We don't know what really happened to him, but he passed away in South Africa. There's this is something that we have never seen actually. It's quite crazy, to be honest. He died a while back, but he is still not buried because his family members, the former president's family members, and the government, the current government of Zambia, are feuding. They have a full blown feud. So they couldn't agree on where he will be buried. So he's still in a morgue somewhere in South Africa. That sounds insane, especially for me as an Ethiopian. When you pass away, you have to be buried like almost immediately, like a few days later. Like in our culture, you don't let your loved one stay in a morgue or anywhere else for a long period of time. Like the most I've heard is, I don't, like a week, because someone was coming, like a loved one was coming from abroad and they wanted to wait for them for the burial so that they bury either their mother, their father, whatever the case may be. Sometimes they might not even wait for those people that are traveling from abroad, they'll just bury them. So to hear about this feud between the government of Hakainde Hichilema, the president, and the ex-president Edgar, his family is just crazy because his body is still in the morgue and he's not been buried. And you might be wondering, what's the feud, right? We'll get into what happened to his son and his luxury cars, 79 cars, and tons of lands and apartments and petrol stations. We'll talk about that because that's the main story here. But I just wanted to give you a context, a background as to what's happening between the previous government leader and then now the current one, who's Hakainde Hichilema. So there was bad blood between them, obviously. So the government, even if they had bad blood, they want his resting place to be, the previous president's resting place to be, in Zambia, and they want to give him a funeral. What I think it's called government state funeral, right? Since he was a previous leader. But Edgar's family are saying there's no way we are going to allow that to happen by the government. We're not going to send his body to Zambia because when he was alive, he did not want the current president to attend his funeral. Like he would not want him to be there. So with a state funeral, the president obviously will be there. So we do not want to send his body, and he's not going to be buried in Zambia. They rather uh, him get buried in South Africa. That's the whole feud. Until this day, they haven't figured that out. They have not um, come come to an agreement. So he's still not buried. Just, yeah, that sounds so crazy to me, but I understand everybody has different, cultures, different way of doing things. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where his resting place is going to be. So now now that you know there's a feud between Edgar and Edgar Lungu, the previous president, and the current president, Hakainde Hichilema, that won over votes in 2021, overwhelmingly, actually. Um, the votes that he got, that is, it was overwhelming. Like, he won fair and square, at least according to the reports, right? So they have bad blood. Now, I don't know if you know this, but in a lot of these African countries, I'm pretty sure it happens other places as well, but I'm speaking about our situation. When a leader, a certain government, leaves office and the new one comes, there's usually a lot of the times the I don't know if I can call it headhunting. Headhunting, in the job market, it's like finding the best person, hiring them, and not like that. The other side, like hunting, quite literally, like going after their assets, going after their money, going after what they have, what they gained during their, presidency or their time in office, right? So it's a really, really normal thing that they do. But in those countries that this doesn't happen, they usually have an agreement between the previous leader and this leader if they're corrupt. We're talking about like corrupt people, okay? If they are corrupt, what they'll do is the previous leader, as he's going out, he'll have an agreement with the new leader, and they'll say, okay, if, if you protect my assets, the money I've accumulated thus far, my family's business, everything, if you protect it and you never look my way, I'll make sure that, like, next time you are taken care of as well. So when the new one comes, he looks the other way, he never bothers the previous leader and what they've taken, looted, stole, whatever. And then he's going to do the exact same thing with the other person that's going to come in. That is, if they're not dictators. Dictators will stay in power 40 plus years. We talk about them, right? So there's usually that too. But in this case, okay, in this case, Hakainde Hichilema is clearly not allowing Edgar's family to have the things that they have accumulated when he was in power. Right now, we're talking about Dalitsu, but previously it was the former first lady, the wife to the ex-president. The court was going through her assets as well. She had how many? 15 apartments valued at 3.5 million. They were questioning her, how did you get these things? No answer. Same thing now with the son. The court, the high court, Zambia's high court has ordered seizure for 79 cars, 23 pieces of land, shopping mall, a petrol station, and luxury apartments from this guy that I'm talking about, Dalit Sulungu. And he's only 39 years old, by the way. So they have said, the court has ordered that all these assets should be seized. And the reason the court gave, and I'll read for you exactly what the reasoning is, because they did an investigation, right? Before their ruling, they went through everything that he has, and they asked him, how do you justify, like, how do you have 79 cars, 23 pieces of land, and this is in Lusaka, like in the city, right? A shopping mall, you know how expensive, to build like a whole shopping mall. Petrol station, which is not cheap as well. Luxury apartments, not one, but just plenty of apartments. So when they asked, rightfully so, where did you accumulate all this? Because according to what we have here in our data, you were not working for long. And the one job that you kept, I think it was, what job was it? He had a job. Government, no. What was the job? It's something about revenue. I thought I had it here. Yeah, I'll look for it. So he had a job that he held, I think, a few years. It's not even a long time. So, and that salary, they have the income tax, they have everything. So they're like, how in the world were you able to afford all these luxury cars and all these luxury apartments and a whole petrol station and a mall and everything. And yeah, they were able to find out that like there is no way that it makes sense. I'm at least lawfully for him to have all those things have acquired. Um, Let me read for you what the court was looking at. So, according to reports, Dalistu Lungu is his name, the son to the ex-president. When the High Court assessed Dalitu Lungu's financial capacity, the court examined his employment history and income. Evidence showed that he worked briefly at a beverage company in Lusaka in 2012 and later spent nearly 3 years at the Zambia Revenue Authority. Okay. The court concluded that his earnings were insufficient, even when taken together to account for the acquisition of the extensive fleet of vehicles and high value properties. Investigation into his company, Saloid Traders Limited, found that its financial statements, tax returns, bank records, and social security contributions did not demonstrate the capacity to lawfully acquire or maintain the assets in question. So basically, and this is what the judge said, quote, Dalitso Lungu has failed to proffer further and solid evidence to substantiate his claims that Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu and indeed his parent were the source of the funds used to purchase the properties. End quote. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? Like, how else unless you did some sorcery, I don't know, like how else did you get all that, acquire all that asset and money? And I told you it doesn't stop there. Even his family members, like his own mother, um, has so many things that she can't justify, she can't um, give evidence as to how she got those things lawfully. And as I said, you know, the father was, may he rest in peace, he's dead now, right? He was the president for 6 years. But the thing is, honestly, I was thinking, if Edgar, the previous president, you know, stole public funds and facilitated for his family members, his son, his wife, all his family members, the ones that he gave to or gave access to. If he did that, and it seems like that's how, like, I don't know how else these people got this much wealth. Um, it was just 6 years. He was in power for just 6 years. And as I said, his successor got a lot of votes. Like it was majority votes. It was not very close, like when he won against them. So that tells you that people were also not crazy about him, right? So he was in power for 6 years and they have acquired all this wealth that they can't make sense of. At least the court seemed to believe that there's no way they could have gotten all this wealth without any, you know, funny business, you know. So I can only imagine other countries, like the leaders have been in office for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It's crazy. Like how much have they gotten? Like how much did they take? How much did they loot from their own people? How much did they basically steal? I mean, to call a spade, right? So yeah, I was like, wow, it's only been 6 years, but look at your family. Yeah, that is very interesting, to say the least. But as I said, this is not the first time or the only country that you see this in. I've talked about Angola so much before. I don't know if you've been on this channel for a while, at least for 5 years, I've talked about Angola and the previous leadership is Isabel dos Santos, her father, her brother. We talked about them when the new government came in, started, going after their assets. And don't forget Isabel dos Santos, the daughter of, the dos Santos family, like the president, by when was it? A few years back when I was reporting, I think it was like 5 years ago, she was Africa's richest woman, like, period. Africa's richest woman. So, now she has fallen from grace. Like, there's so much, like, the government quite literally has frozen, seized so many of our assets, even the ones that she has outside of the country. Her brother, I believe, is in jail because the government has arrested him in relation to, same thing, corruption, taking out money that didn't belong to them. Um, so it's like a thing that happens when one leaves, the other one comes. I just wish that when they come through and they do investigate and they do seize the assets that belong to the people, now it actually goes to the rightful people, the people that it belongs to. It's they steal from the people's future, the people's present, and that's the thing that happens. um, but unfortunately, in most cases, when the new leadership comes in, they tend to believe that now it's our turn to loot. Now it's our turn to take advantage. Now it's our tribe's turn, our people's turn, our. So it's like you get away from one and then go to another thief. That's usually the case, unfortunately, for many cases. But there are some where, after they seize those assets, they actually put the stuff to good use, once the state owns it, of course. But yeah, for the most part, it's, yeah, one after the other. It's the people can never get a break, kind of, you know. uh oh, let me get into the chats. Donsa Donsamo Kwan said, yeah, man, he's got he's he has to go away, damn thief. Yeah, now the court has order, but his lawyers said that they're appealing this case. So we're going to see what's going to happen once they appeal. Is it going to be overturned? Is there going to be like some cars he's going to be allowed to take, some land, some, apartments? We're going to see what's going to happen. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but we will keep you posted. Brian said, did he own any foreign investments? If I have to guess, yes. According to the reports that I read, they never mentioned that because the court seized what is within the country. But these people, most of them, like they do that. If anything, I'm surprised that Dalitsu had a lot of assets within the country. Mostly when they steal, what they do is take it out of the country. Like, they take the money because of this exact reason. They don't want it to be seized when the next, man in chief comes through. It's gonna mess with what they've taken. They usually just invest somewhere else, put their money somewhere else, Swiss accounts. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a Caribbean country they usually like to do business with, because like I don't think it can be tracked, or the government can ask for it back. So probably, if I'm guessing, he probably had foreign investments. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, he probably has, is my guess, though. I'm not saying it is for sure. I'm just guessing. Raymond said, imagine what if all of that was shared to help the people? Yes, yes, Raymond. Imagine that. Imagine, because this one guy has, as I said, 79 cars, and these are just within the country, right? And this is just one son. We're not talking about the wife. I told you there's other cases with his family members, and not even including the actual, like, ex-president. So 79 cars. Like, what will you do with them? Even if you have five and you're so fancy and like you want to flaunt your wealth or whatever, like, okay, you have five. Even that is like, why do you need five? But I'm just trying to be generous, okay? People have ego. We five. And he has oh, three apartments. One he's living in, two he's renting out. He's trying to get income, extra income. Land. Why would you need how much? How many lands? 23 pieces of land. What will you do with all that when there are people that need shelter? There are people in your own country, the country that you claim to be serving, right? Or your father was serving. What do you do with all these luxury apartments? You know what I mean? Like, it's the greed, it never ends, and it's too much. If he would have even taken some of that and left the rest for the people, that still would have benefited others. It's like, I feel like that's what I'm noticing with these leaders. Once they taste a little bit of money, a little bit of luxury, it's so hard for them to have discipline. It's almost like they get possessed, and they start just stealing left and right, do not care about anything else. You would assume even those that are stealing, they will still, like, behind the scenes, um not make it apparent, try to look good in front of others, they try to leave legacy, like some name for. No, they don't care. Like, that is so weird to me. It's everything, they want to clear everything. And it's so bizarre to me how, because it's not like use it they can use all of it. Like, there's enough for them. They stole enough for their kids, their great kids, their grandkids, their great grandkids. What else are you saving for? I think it's like a proper possession, like a disease, because once you never have enough. Like, I don't know, I don't get it, but it happens so much. I'm pretty sure there's something to it. Like, they just can't help themselves. Don said it vexes the spirit when their greed and actions are revealed. Brian asked how much square footage, or if applicable, how much acres of land. I'm not sure, but you can go. His name is. You can do more research if you find those details. In the reports that I read, they never gave details, but maybe the court case, if it's open, maybe you can look through it. His full name is Dalistu Lungu, and he's the son of the former president Edgar Lungu, Zambia's president. So maybe if there's like an open case, you can, if the court case was open, you can get more detail. You can check that out. mm, Ving said, in Kenya there are individuals who own more than this fella stolen, of course. Yeah, and in many countries that is true. Yeah, it's very unfortunate, but yeah, they just they want everything to themselves. Everything. Brian said land ownership was the original form of wealth, renting out. I think for the most part, even now, land ownership, if you have enough for yourself, and then on top of that, you have enough for, let's say, like farming, a little bit of food here and there, and then if you have another spare that you're renting out, it's still very much so like uh, a form of wealth, as you said. So I would say it still is, right? For the most part. John said, that's just wrong. We all really have to watch these officials and the power they have. Yeah. You know what how they get away with it is mostly because the mass, like majority of us, right? We have the power, right? It's democracy is majority rule, minority right, from what I remember from my civics days. Um, but the thing is, we don't know the power we have. They made us believe that we are powerless, right? And they have divided us so much, not just within, like, let's say, when we talk about countries, right, within the continent, but I'm saying even in a country, there's division. They make sure that you feel like your neighbor is your enemy. that tribe is less than you, you are better than that one, you are smarter than this one. Like even within a country, there's so much division, and that's how they're able to succeed, like conquer, divide, and win, right? So that's what they've been using thus far, and they continue to do it. Some of us are waking up to the fact, which is beautiful, but not fast enough, I feel like. Slowly but surely it's happening, and we thank God, grateful, yes, good. We've seen so much change so far. But with that being said, we still don't understand the kind of power we have, the kind of reality shifting power that we have. So we fear them because we can protest today and tomorrow, and then they'll unleash our own people, police, on us, and then the rest is history. We've talked about what happens during those protests and how brutal it can get. So that sends a signal to the rest: don't do it, don't even try. They are gonna take your life, they are gonna make your life miserable. And because of that, they continue to do what they do. Brian said greed. Brian also said, I think I know it's I think no, it's business, specifically the financial service, stocks and bonds currently. I know now. Oh, that's what you're saying. I think I know now it's business, specifically the financial services, stocks and bonds currently. Elon Musk is richest person on earth with 690 billion, and his net worth fluctuates based on the price action of his ownership in stock shares, meaning equity in public companies. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what Elon Musk has to do with the conversation we're having. Like, I'm sure you have a point. I'm trying to um understand. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I'm trying to see if there's anything I forgot to mention. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. He said he's appealing it. His lawyers have said that they're appealing it. Looking forward to seeing what's gonna happen, but I highly doubt. I highly doubt he's going to be successful because Hakainde Hichilema, the current president, is not playing around. And the family is so angry with him, the former president's family, they're not even allowing their own father to be buried in his own country, a country that he ran for 6 years. Though the government wants to give him a state funeral, they said, nope, our dad did not want you, the president, to come to his funeral when he passes. So, no, we're going to pass on that. So, that's also an interesting topic to follow up, because I have no clue what's going to happen, because the man's still not buried. It's just a ridiculous, ridiculous thing, honestly. I think they should come up with they should just agree on something, like and honestly, don't, as a person that's looking, from outside, like watching from outside, the man's, whether you liked him or not, was the president at some point. I think all presidents get state funerals, so why not send him off that way instead of him being buried in South Africa, another country where he was, he was not the president of South Africa, right? And I'm pretty sure South Africa is not going to give him that grand burial, the remembrance, the because he's just a somebody for them, not a previous president. So yeah, but the family is determined completely and fully. They do not want to send his body to his home. Oh, Brian. Okay, you're explaining. We were talking about wealth and what makes a person rich. Elon Musk isn't in real estate. It's still a vehicle to wealth, to own land, but it's not where the richest people are coming from. Okay, now I get. Okay, back in the day, though, it was land. Yes, yes, yes. But you see, to a certain degree, or to a lot, in the continent of Africa right now, for the most part, we're still in that age where, like, agriculture is one of, I think, is the biggest. Okay, don't quote me on that. But one of the biggest sectors where people are getting money, and that is by owning land, right? But I understand the present day, especially now, the future is going to look different. It's going to be digital. The people that are going to, create this digital ecosystem, and those that are tech savvy are the ones that are gonna make more wealth and stuff. And even in a few years back, those are the kind of people like the Mark Zuckerbergs, as you mentioned, Elon, Bill Gates, Apple, Steve Jobs. That's how they created their wealth. It keeps changing, and yeah, you are right. I agree with you on that one. Anyways, fam, thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Stay blessed. Bye.